Bruce and Alina had been slaving away at their jobs for 3 years. Bruce's job was primarily hauling freight in his Ford Transit, while Alina worked day and night as a waitress in the bar. The bar was open 24 hours a day. Finally, at the end of May, when Bruce, tired but full of hope, returned home, his wife said, "Darling, I suggest that we calculate our family budget." "What is that for? We seem to have enough money." Bruce didn't understand. "Well, wouldn't you like to spend this summer somewhere abroad, at a resort, at least for a week?" Bruce thought about it and realized that he himself wanted a holiday somewhere away from home, where there was no hint of any worries, where there was peace and quiet, where everything went as it was supposed to go. Then Bruce said, "You're right. Let's calculate our family budget. Perhaps it's enough for a holiday abroad." They did the math. It turned out to be enough, not even for 1 but for 2 weeks of vacation, and they still would be able to adequately entertain if they saved on the hotel and checked into some hostel. "So are you up for a hostel?" Bruce asked. "Then maybe we can spend more time at the resort." Alina thought about it and said, not in a very cheerful way, "Though all right, if that's the way you want it, then I agree." Bruce didn't like that intonation but pretended not to notice it. He said, "So we need to start looking for everything we need." "What's that now?" Alina did not understand. "Are you completely out of line?" Bruce got angry for some reason. "What do we need for the rest? Don't be silly." "Well, what do we need for the holidays?" "Oh, I need an evening gown, sandals, makeup." Hearing this, Bruce raised his eyes to the ceiling and slapped his forehead with his palm. "God, what a fool," he thought annoyingly, but he said something else. "We need a hostel." Bruce said it in an angry, resounding voice. "What are you mad about?" Alina pretended to be offended. "You're talking nonsense. You think of yourself first. Who's going to take care of them?" "Plane tickets." "Do we really need a plane? You know I'm terrified of flying." Bruce took a deep breath, made an effort not to be rude to his wife prematurely, and said patiently, "Darling, I'm afraid us haven't learned how to travel by sea yet, nor has the railway been laid over the sea, and to go round it would be a huge detour, which would take us half our holiday both ways. But we can cross the sea by ship." The wife wouldn't stop talking. "Did you ever go to school?" Bruce seemed to be losing control. "Open a map and measure the distance from us to the country where we are going on holiday. I hope you remember how to calculate the distance based on the scale of the map, then divide the distance by the speed of the ship, which is about 20 kilometers per hour, and you'll understand how long it will take us, or rather it would take us if there were direct voyages from us to our destination." Apparently, Alina had a poor memory of school mathematics, so she didn't do the math. She just looked up at Bruce with doomed eyes and asked, "So we have no other options besides the plane?" "There is the option of going to the sea in our country, but the service, I'm afraid, will not be the best." In the end, Alina agreed to an air flight and started to look for tickets. The search was successful, as well as the search for a hostel. The hostel turned out to be even better than it was expected. Small, 2 bedrooms, shared kitchen and bathroom, a bus rapid transit station nearby. "Yeah, it's a bit far from the center, but the public transport is good," Bruce said. "And I thought we'd find a hostel by the sea," Alina grumbled. "I don't think a hostel and by the sea are compatible," Bruce muttered. "The most expensive plots of land are by the sea. The sea has a chance to create all conditions for the richest tourists, which unfortunately you and I do not belong to. So make up your mind, either this hostel or no holiday abroad at all." The wife agreed again. All in all, they had a poorly organized holiday, though not without scandals. During the flight, the wife of course huddled in her chair, whispering prayers all the time. Unfortunately, aerophobia is a phobia that not all people can conquer. The flight was not without scandals either, and the reason was the go-around. The thing is that when the plane touched the runway with its main landing gear struts, passengers could clearly hear both engines revving up. The moment the plane took off, it veered sharply to the right, then to the left, and only then was the plane able to gain altitude. "Murderer," Alina barked at her husband. I wish not to listen to you anymore. We almost died, and there's no guarantee that we won't die. Then this she yelled to the entire cabin of economy class. Bruce looked at her with surprised eyes. Go around in a strong crosswind is a natural thing to do, he wanted to tell his wife, but she wouldn't listen. She yelled again. No more planes. If necessary, you will get me a boat, and we will sail across the sea on it. What an idiot, thought Bruce with annoyance. Why did I agree to this bloody trip abroad? Next thing he knew, he was praying that the plane would be able to land the second time. Otherwise, Alina would finish him off. Bruce mentally sighed. However, the plane only managed to land on the fourth time, and every time the plane did a go-around, Alina cursed at her husband. The final part of the flight was boarding the platform bus in a heavy downpour. My makeup's going to leak, Alina yelled. Shut your mouth, you scum. Bruce couldn't take it anymore. Oh, that's right, I'm the one who's scum. You got me on the plane, and now it's all my fault. I'm sorry I ever agreed to go abroad with you. I should have gone to one of the seaside cities in our country, or better yet, you shouldn't have gone anywhere at all. You could have rested on our estuary, and that would have been the end of it. Stingy, cynical, rotten. I repeat, shut your mouth, or I'll hit you right here in the crowd. Alina shut up, and they went to the terminal in silence. Then she had a bus view of the rainy evening city, checked into her room, and so on. The next morning, Alina met her neighbors, a married couple, Mario and Carla. They turned out to be Bruce and Alina's countrymen, though their roots go back to Sicily. Bruce also got to know his neighbors from across the corridor, although he didn't want them to. And from there, life went on. Sightseeing, bathing in the sea, visiting museums. It certainly cost a lot of money. But Bruce and Alina could afford it. Mario and Carla also went out with them often. In general, the couples became good friends with each other. They especially liked the nook on the high, about 30 meters embankment. Hardly anyone walked here, and the place was hardly lit up at night, but there was a beautiful view of the harbor and the seaport, and a battered and therefore unpopular road descends to this spot from above. It had been a week. It was a glorious time. Even Bruce stopped looking at Mario and Carla with hostility, and his wife calmed down, less nagging and displaying her perpetual displeasure. One day, it was Mario's birthday, and of course he invited Bruce and Alina to a restaurant. It wasn't a cheap restaurant, though. There he told them that he was in fact a very rich man, and that he simply did not like expensive hotels. You see, he said, everything in expensive hotels is not real, and a hostel is a lively place in itself, and people in hostels are simpler. Do you agree with me, Carla? I do, his wife replied. Mario's tongue was a little slurred because he'd had a little too much to drink, and his eyes kept going to Alina. Alina seemed to like it. Bruce, on the other hand, didn't like it. He was smart enough not to get involved, though. And then everything went dark for Bruce. He woke up in his room. There was no Alina, no Mario, no Carla. What the hell? Bruce shook his head, his stomach churning. Bruce pulled himself up, tried to remember what had happened yesterday, and realized he couldn't remember. Then he decided to look for his wife. Neither at the hotel nor on the town beach was she present. Maybe she's at the restaurant where Mario had his birthday party yesterday? Bruce surmised and raced to the bus rapid transit station. The wife wasn't at the restaurant either. Right, we need to find out what happened last night, Bruce thought, and went to the manager. He called the waiter who had served the table the day before. That's it, I'm off, said the manager when the waiter showed up. He was a young man with a blunt, round face and a fat belly. Yes, sir, the waiter said with a heavy Sicilian accent. I need to find a woman, a wife, Bruce said. Do you know if you have seen her here? The waiter, looking at Bruce's eyes, shook his head. Who was she with? The waiter asked. An Italian man, a big guy. I remember him, yes? The waiter nodded. Tell me, did they leave the restaurant together? Sir, it was a birthday party, so they drank a lot. I don't know for sure, but I saw him with her just outside. Bruce's heart sank. You don't mean to say they left together? Let's put it this way. In Italy, when it's a birthday, a man usually doesn't take his girlfriend to his room after drinking. I'm sorry, sir. With these words, Bruce felt as if a wave of molten metal had flooded his insides. It burned and burned. How could I have let this happen? He rushed out of the restaurant, went down to the embankment, and stood there for a long time, trying to calm himself down, feeling sick inside. He realized he needed to call Alina, and in the meantime, he returned to the hotel. There he had a drink, and then another one. But it didn't help. Bruce sat on the bed for a long time, but soon he felt that he couldn't live like this anymore. He had to find out what had happened. And that's it. The day had passed, and Bruce still hadn't heard from Alina. Finally, he couldn't bear it anymore. He put on his shoes and went for a walk along the embankment again. He paced for an hour and then saw a crowd near a small cafe on the embankment. He found himself in the middle of it. And there they were, Mario and Alina. "Oh, what a sight. I'm sorry," Bruce shouted. "What the hell are you doing here?" "Nothing special. I came to see my wife," Bruce said loudly. He couldn't figure out why he was shouting. He just wanted to explode. "Bruce, darling," Alina exclaimed. "Wait a moment. Come join us." "No, I won't join you. Get lost," Bruce yelled. "Let's take it easy," Mario said, putting his arm around Alina's shoulders. "What are you doing here? Are you spying on her?" "Don't touch her," Bruce shouted. Mario just laughed and started dragging Alina to him. "Are you going to touch her or what?" But Mario stepped back. "I think you should be more careful, my friend. It's better for you not to mess with me." Bruce clenched his fists. "You better just leave her alone." "Don't forget I live here," Mario said, smiling, as if nothing was wrong. Finally, Bruce turned and left, feeling dizzy and cold. He felt like he would vomit. He could hardly fall asleep. As the night came, the images of what he saw today circled in his mind. Next morning, Bruce realized he had to meet with Alina. "Why did you go there? To your Mario?" Bruce asked. "I don't know, darling. I was just walking with him, and I thought you were there, and you were," Alina replied, shrugging. "What do you mean you were just walking with him? What else did you do?" Bruce said furiously. "I don't know. You know how it is. 2 glasses of wine, and then we talked and talked, and I got carried away." "Carried away? I should have thought we could have a vacation without this stupid drama. You would go out with Mario, and I would go with Carla, and I would be taking care of you." "Maybe I was wrong to trust Mario, but you know, darling, I really wanted to get away from it all. That doesn't make sense. We can think of a way out, right?" "I'm going home," Bruce said firmly. "Why?" "Because I can't trust you anymore." "Darling, we can talk." Bruce turned his back and walked away. Next morning, Bruce packed his things, grabbed his suitcase, and returned home. The flight back was more cheerful than on the way there, even though he had to fly on a plane. The following day, Alina returned home too. "I'm sorry," she said. "It's not my fault," Bruce replied coldly. "Well, if I went out with Mario, it means nothing to me. You know I love you." Bruce listened to her, but the pain was still fresh. Then Alina continued, "Give me a second chance. Let's try to work it out." Bruce stared blankly at her. "I don't know." Alina sighed and said, "Okay, I see you're still upset." But Bruce was thinking about their past and how it was nice back then, but now, nothing could bring him back to that.